We're just gonna sit here. We're not gonna say shit. We're not gonna say nothing.
My name is Jeff.
Dude, you know that's such an underrated movie.
Yeah.
21 Jump Street. It's fucking really good. This is a real good movie. Oh man. So dude, the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
You liking it so far?
Well, I mean, Game 3 was like the only competitive game we had so far, which that was the only game I've really watched so far with in that series, just because the other ones were blowouts, and
Yeah.
you know, whenever I got home or whatever, I'd see the score or something, and I was like, forget it. It's already winning by 20 points. Like they're probably not going to come back. So.
Well, yeah, especially in the third quarter the other day. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
It was yesterday. Today's Thursday.
Yep.
I forget which day it is sometimes. But yeah, yesterday, dude, I just kept. We were in the gym and I was looking at this. I kept looking up at the score and I kept watching the game and I'm like, there were like a lot of miscues, dude. There were a lot of air balls too.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe it because like there were a lot of there were a lot of shots taken, there were a lot of missed shots, but the score was like really high.
Yeah, it was. I was working out and the game was on over there at the gym, and so I was watching some. It was like, shit, it's actually a close game this time. So when I got home, I turned it on, and the second half was getting ready to start. And
Yeah.
so it turned out to be a pretty good game. I mean, the whole playoffs have pretty much been sorry. Like hardly any drama. It's just like a lot of blowouts. And so
The only drama comes from Queen James.
yeah.
Dude, okay, so right after the game ended yesterday, I guess, who was it? Was it Kyrie? Was it Kyrie Irving or was it JR? It was one of those two. They had like put out a tweet that said Cavs in 7. And I'm looking at them like, dude, if you haven't done it by now, because like you look at it, okay, there's two things you want to look at. One, LeBron James is doing everything on that team. That's a no-brainer. 2, this is number 2. In the fourth quarter of every game this finals, LeBron James has scored no more than 11 points.
Yeah, I seen that. He's disappeared. 11 combined
and you look at it,
points in the fourth quarter.
You look at it, he's averaging like 20, and he goes into the teens, and he has like 10, 11 points.
Yeah, I think he's averaging like 30 points a game for, so far in the final. Like 30, he's averaging a triple-double.
Yeah,
like 30 points,
basically.
like over 10 rebounds.
He'll have like 8 or 9
something.
rebounds. I think last night he had like 10. But no. Game 2, he had like 10, 11 rebounds. Or something like that. And but he's been getting basically triple-double numbers like every single game. And it doesn't matter what he does because, like, for some reason or another, everyone else on his team is just not doing anything.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say, especially like when you look at the stat. Like they brought up a stat in the third quarter that said, like 33 of the Cavs' points come from LeBron James and Kyrie Irving combined, and it was like 30 points. And I'm looking at him like, wait a second, dude. 5 minutes ago, you just showed LeBron James with 22 points. So that means Kyrie Irving's not even had 10 points yet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
It just shows like the level of, like the level, 3 things. 1, Jordan's never scored 11 points. Anything less than 15 in a fourth quarter. 2,
that's 3 games combined.
Yeah, combined. Holy shitballs, combined. Remember that.
It's totally disappearing in the fourth quarter. But that's nothing new though.
That's what we expect, and that's the argument of like why LeBron shouldn't even be ahead of Kobe at all, because Kobe never did any shit like that. And one thing to note, and I know you know this, a lot of people were talking about, well, he's going up against 4 All-Stars. He's going up against, this and that. Kobe went up against 4 All-Stars too in the Celtics. You should know that.
Yep.
And Kobe beat him twice, right?
No, the first time they lost, they played each other like not back-to-back years, I believe, but it was like they played each other 1 year. Yeah. Then like 2 years, I think 2 years later, maybe they played them.
But hey, Kobe was able to beat the Celtics, and they had 4 All-Stars in their team. So there should be no excuses. And this is literally if there's anything about being the greatest of all time or being in the top 10, there shouldn't be any excuse why you lose.
Yeah.
If you have to come up with excuses why you lose, you're not the greatest.
Not just to lose, but just to disappear in the fourth quarter. People will look at the number. Oh, he's averaging a triple double, but like that's great and all, but
yeah, but I mean,
what have you done in the fourth quarter? Like in
the championship
clutch,
rounds.
yeah, that's when you win the game.
Yeah,
The fourth quarter, like.
I mean, you look at all other greats, like you look at Joe Montana. I mean, did he just roll over and die with the last 2 minutes left, or did he beat? Or did he beat the Bengals?
Didn't even want him to have the ball,
Yeah, Brady did the same thing. He did it twice. He did it against the Seahawks, the number one defense, and then he did it again against the Atlanta Falcons. Although a lot of people say that the Falcons are going to choke, but you know what? Okay, I didn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. Everyone said the Falcons choked. I say the Falcons got outplayed.
It was a combination of things. It was just
and
the perfect storm of things,
Yeah, one is Tom Brady, and then two, there's a little bit of chokage involved, and then three, just getting outplayed.
Bad decisions, just all around.
But like the definition of choking is, to me anyways, I don't know about anybody else, if you choke, that means that one, the game relied on you. Two, you took the last shot because you had the opportunity to win the game and you blew it. Yeah. And three, if you're not on the field to defend yourself, then you really can't say that you choked.
Yeah, I think it's if you're in a situation where you should be expected to win or expected to complete the task and you fail. For that's the final result is fail, then that's a choke job. Like it being in the final moments and not succeeding doesn't necessarily mean that it's a choke. Like if you have to shoot the ball, if you're down by 2 points and all you got is a half court shot, in basketball to try and make a three to win the game.
Yeah, you really can't.
You didn't choke. You didn't hit the game-winning shot. It's not a choke. You're not expected to make that,
Yeah.
But it's like if the defense falls asleep and you coast all the way to the rim and miss the layup,
that's choking.
You choked.
That's choking.
So,
yeah, because and that's one of those things. It could go either way, especially in the Super Bowl. It can go either way. Like or
if you do something really dumb in the final moments too, that can be considered choking. Also.
Like for example, Scott Norwood missing that field goal when the Bills played the Giants, that's choking. That there's no excuse for that. That's choking. You hit field goals all day long. And if you're the Falcons and you're allowing that lead to kind of slip away from you, it's a combination of being outplayed and choking. But like if it's the final moments, like okay, for example, this is a way better example. Colin Kaepernick throwing it in the corner of the end zone that he is known for not being successful in.
Oh yeah,
twice, 2 years in a row, and then again against the Baltimore Ravens where the Super Bowl is on the line.
Yeah, them throwing it 4
That's
straight
a choke.
times.
That's a choke.
That was a choke by the coach too to throw it 4 straight times when you got Frank Gore
That's
on the 1 yard line. Damn,
another
dude.
1 yard line running situation. There's no reason not to. You have like a Hall of Fame running back on your team. There's no reason you should not be running the ball on the 1 yard line. I mean, okay, if you're on the 1 yard line and you have like the box stacked and there's like 11 dudes just like piled up goal line stance, I can see where like you might want to be you might want to like take advantage of that and then roll a tight end on the outside with a mismatch. That if it's first down, then yeah, I can see maybe taking the risk on that, throwing it on the outside shoulder of the tight end. You could probably get away with that. Some teams have done that, but if you're on the goal, you're on the one. Defenses aren't, and if you're going up against a defense who is not like stacked the box with like 8, 9, 10, 11 players, there's no reason why you shouldn't be running the ball. You should, at that point, it's just like one-on-one where you're allowing each lineman to take one dude and then overpower the other. That's pretty much saying your offensive line is weak and you don't trust them to make their blocks. Yeah. You know, but in this series, and it's hard to say LeBron is choking. Dude, that entire team is choking.
Yeah, it's most of the team,
because LeBron is doing his job.
Most of the team isn't coming through for the whole game.
Yeah, they're not stepping up.
So when LeBron disappeared in the fourth quarter, there's no one's there to pick up the slack, really.
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard it's hard to put all the blame on LeBron, but at the same time, it's his team. It's quote unquote his team.
Yeah, and he's the GOAT, right?
He's supposed to be the leader to get guys to like be inspired enough to go out and win the game.
Yep.
I mean, and it's not like they're not going out there and not trying to win. It's just that they're getting outplayed. All of them, they're getting mismatched. You know, and you can anybody can say, oh, you know, there's just so many like all-stars on the Golden State Warriors. You know what?
They can be beat. You know, you don't just crumble under that and you know, fall apart. You step up to the challenge. And
yeah, I mean, the Celtics got beat in the aughts by Kobe. Hell, dude, when the Celtics had Bird and Parrish, dude, those are like legit all-stars. And Magic Johnson beat them.
Look at, you know, the Lakers.
Even the Lakers
they
of the
got
80s,
beat by
dude,
the Pistons.
the show.
The 2000 Lakers, they got beat by the Pistons in the finals, you know, and that was the one that everybody thought they were going to win. That Shaq, Kobe, Karl Malone, Gary Payton.
Yeah, because they had legit, not just like, they had like 5 all-stars.
Everyone's like, oh, that's not fair. They're going to win, blah, blah.
They had like the team, probably one of the most stacked teams.
The team kind of fell apart when Malone tried to hit on Kobe's wife. And then I think Malone missed the finals because of all that shit. Yeah. But it's, you know, nobody just fell apart, you know, and cried about it. And, and the Lakers damn near got swept. They lost 4-1 to the Pistons. The only reason why the Lakers won a game is because Kobe hit a buzzer beater to win one of the games. Yeah. And, you know, the Pistons didn't give a shit how many All-Stars or Hall of Famers were on that team. They went out there and handled business.
And I'll say this. I don't remember any player in NBA's top 10 that's been swept in the finals twice.
Man, top player. Well,
I don't. And not just to get swept, dude, but like.
Well, you lose the first 2 games with 20 plus points.
Just blowouts.
Third one was close. But we'll see how Game 4 goes.
I mean, if LeBron gets his team to come back from this and then win it in Game 7, I know you'll get mad at this, but I'll put him ahead of Kobe. I
don't have to worry about it because it's not going to happen.
No. Hell no.
So the only way that's happening is if
every single person on
kidnap,
the Warriors
gets
hurt.
Team.
Yeah. They hold him for ransom.
The NBA steps in and is like, no, Draymond Green failed the drug test. And so did Steph. And so did Kevin Durant. They're all suspended for 3 games.
Performance-enhancing drugs.
They spent them all for 3 games. They lose to Game 7.
You know what? I'm surprised. No one has said that. That anyone on the Warriors are on performance-enhancing drugs.
Well, I'm surprised that no one in basketball ever really gets busted for that.
For performance-enhancing drugs?
There's no freaking way. I mean, I know the rosters are smaller, you know, in that sport. There's only, 12, 13 players on the team. Was there 29 teams? 28 maybe? I forget.
Something like that.
But anyways,
to be honest,
limited roster.
To be honest, basketball is like much more of a skilled sport than anything else.
Those guys are still big, you know. A lot of those dudes are cut up. You don't see like fat dudes out there, and it's like, you know, baseball players get popped. Football players get popped.
I want to see a 5'10", 250-pound basketball player. That's what I want to see.
Boxers, MMA, you know, never see anyone in basketball getting popped for performance-enhancing drugs.
Either the NBA is doing something extremely right, or they're doing something extremely right to hide that.
Yeah.
One of the two.
It's got to be. I mean, I'm not saying they all are. Like obviously, I think it's probably more people in football,
right?
You know,
than anything else.
Doing
but
it.
It's like why hasn't anybody questioned it? Why hasn't anybody brought that to the attention of the public?
Yeah.
Because especially
can't tell me not one guy.
Especially since the Golden State Warriors have been playing so freaking hot the last 2-3 years. You know, if it was anyone else in any other sport, you would easily say, "Oh, he's on steroids," or you know, he's on some kind of performance-enhancing drug. He's on GHB or whatever. Like a lot of people have said about Adrian Peterson when he came back from like a knee injury, the way he has.
Yeah, rushed for 2,000 yards.
Rushed for 2,000 yards. Oh, he's got to be on steroids.
Yeah,
you know?
HGH.
Or like, you know,
like, dude, when I think about it, like, if HGH really is that type of a miracle drug where it could do that, like, why isn't it prescribed more? Like
if it's something like that that's gonna cure everything, why isn't it like
you
more
get,
readily
a bad
available?
Knee injury or something like that, like, fuck that, dude. Take HGH. You know, like, if it's gonna cut your recovery time like damn near in half, like,
and if it's gonna make you superhuman, why aren't more people taking it?
Yeah.
Well, especially with HGH, there's fewer side effects to HGH than there is like traditional steroids.
Yeah.
Like with traditional steroids, since it impacts the liver so much and your bone structure so much, there's huge dangers to it.
Yeah.
But like with things like HGH or even like anabolic steroids still don't have the same kind of like side effects to it. But you know, you take things like Deca or you know traditional steroids, yeah. Like for example, what's the clenbuterol? Clenbuterol is a performance enhancing drug, but the primary thing it doesn't like enhance muscle. It just enhances the amount of red blood cells in your body.
Oh, okay.
So you have more oxygen flowing through your body. You have more. You have faster recovery time and things like that.
Yeah, and then some people, or some sports, like they outlaw blood doping.
Yeah,
where you take your own blood out. You know, it's
your
stored
own
somewhere.
It's not performance enhancing. It's your own blood
stored somewhere in a lab. You let your body replenish the blood cells that you lost. Then you get your red blood cells injected back in you. That way you have more red blood cells. So, like, if you're running a marathon or, you know, people got busted doing it, like the
Lance
Tour de
Armstrong
France,
is the most famous.
And I don't see why that should be illegal, really.
Dude, it's... Okay, I'm not going to say it's the exact same
I get how
thing.
people could say, oh, well, that's kind of cheating or altering, but, like, it's your...
But it's your own blood.
Yeah,
it's your own red blood cells. It's not like you're not taking a pill, you're not taking an injection. There's no real major side effects to it. If anything, there's no side effects at all to anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine, like, okay, like, for example, why wouldn't you want to do that as a person, like, let's say you have diabetes, and there's a 3-month stretch where your blood sugar levels are at the lowest. Why wouldn't you want to take your blood sugar levels at that time, your blood at that time, and then let's say you get tired of dieting, because you can't diet like that for like a long period of time, and let's say you want to take a month or 2 off, you just want to have a little fun, you want to drink a little bit more than normal, you want to hit the buffet a couple more times. Why not take the blood you had when you were at like very low A1C levels of like 4 or 5%, which is astronomically low? Why not take that, take some time off, and then have that re-administered into your body like dialysis, and then your blood sugar levels are low again? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't that be like a smart way of being able to control your diabetes?
Because someone who wrote the rules said no.
Fuck that guy. Yeah. Fuck the rules. Rules are meant to be broken. Fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
But if you're in this world, if you live in this world, I have not... Well, I've come across a few people who do abide by the rules, like very strict. But for the most part, there's like a good, let's say on the low end, 80% of the world who have no problem with lying, cheating, and stealing. Why would you hold anyone else to a lower standard? Or to a different standard, I should say.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
He who is without sin
cast the first stone. And I'm not casting nothing because I'm not above that. Shit. There's so many people who lie on their and cheat on their taxes.
Yep. People lie on their resumes.
People lie on their. Oh yeah, I know PowerPoint. Bitch. Fuck you know PowerPoint. Fuck out of here.
Yep.
You don't know Excel like I do.
Yep. I've read all kinds of articles like somewhere it talks to actors and they talk about lying.
Sure.
You know, in auditions or whatever to get a
Just
part.
so they can
They're
get a
like,
job.
fuck yeah, I know how to ride a motorcycle. You know, the part calls for that, and they're like, all right, and they get hired, and then bam, they go out and learn how to ride a motorcycle or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that shit happens.
People do it all day, every day.
Yep.
You know, if there was like for some reason, if steroids, let's say steroids could cure cancer, don't you think everybody would be taking steroids?
They should.
Well, technically, if you don't, if you're in the medical community and you don't believe in steroids, then you should not be in the medical community.
It all depends on how much the big pharma companies can make off of it.
That's the big one.
That's
the pharmaceutical.
That's the
if there's an opportunity for pharmaceutical companies to make a huge profit off of people's death, they'll do it.
Yeah, the money. They say the money is never in the cure; it's in the treatment.
Yeah.
So if it could if it could cure cancer,
then
probably
why
hide it from people.
Yeah. Why am I gonna have that readily available?
They give you some low dose, cheap version of it, and be like, "Here, this will help you out."
Yeah.
So it doesn't spread or anything like that.
That's all the government and that's all big pharmaceutical companies are doing. Just they're doing it to keep us alive long enough to take as much money from us as possible.
Yeah,
I totally believe that. And the reason I believe that, I didn't tell anybody this until now. Back in January, my prescription for Lantus got dropped. So I had to find a different type of insulin to take that was comparable to Lantus. And the reason it got dropped from my insurance company is because over the last few years, the prices on Lantus have gone up.
No.
A lot. Okay, this is comparable. In 2011, when I got diagnosed with diabetes and I came out of the hospital, I had no insurance. I had no anything, so I had to pay out of pocket for a lot of shit, including insulin. And back then, I thought it was expensive. Back then, Lantus and Novolog, depending on which pharmacy you'd go to, would range anywhere from $150 to $100. Lantus, the cheapest I found it, I think it was like, let's say, Walmart was the cheapest, and it was like $100, $110. And I thought to myself, well, that's pretty cheap. So for like 1 or 2 months before I was on a specific type of Medicare, I would pay out of pocket for Lantus. So $100 every month. Fast forward 6 years later in 2016, before I'd gotten the medical insurance I have now, there was like a 3-month window where I'd gotten dropped by Medi-Cal because I'd gotten married and my wife's income was used, and they're like, oh, well, you make too much money, we can't give you medical insurance. And be damned that I would ever go on the Affordable Health Care Act for personal and political reasons. I totally refused it. But the point is, when I researched how much Lantus was, guess how much it was?
How much?
$500 a vial.
Damn.
$500 a vial. That's like a 500% increase over 6 years. What the fuck? It shows you that
there's nothing that has that type of growth, like
anywhere,
like
anywhere, no other market.
100% increase per year, like
medicine and supplementation are the two biggest growing industries that aren't heavily regulated by any kind of governing body saying that there's a cap on the amount of money that you should be administering this type of treatment to help people live.
Yep. It's all about getting their money back and then some. I mean, I understand, yeah, you got to get the money that you put into the program. And then, of course, they should make
the value of what
work
the
on
product
something
is.
else.
Yeah.
But
for
it
something
goes above
extra
and beyond profit, like it's
that's
ridiculous profit. That's why it's crazy. You know, the doctor who developed the polio vaccine, that was like the last like real breakthrough, because he went for the cure. Cured polio and did not.
It was the closest to a cure that you could find.
He did not put it out there to make money off of it. He put it out there and was like, nope, this is how you make it. No patent. Mm-hmm. Do your thing. Everybody gets cured. Yep. Simple as that. And like no one's done nothing like that ever since.
Nothing.
So,
nothing anywhere close.
Yeah. People told him like you could have been a millionaire, if you would have sold it, and he was like,
he was doing it to help the world.
Yeah, that's not why he got into this business.
Yeah, because polio is like legit. That's like for example, when you have something like Ebola, yeah, you're gonna die within a few days. Polio is pretty much the same thing, like polio and smallpox. If you get smallpox, you're dead. It's a death sentence. Polio is the same thing. Polio, you're dead. And there's no coming back from it. It's not like today where, you get AIDS and they treat you, because now there's treatments, but there's no cure to prevent it.
Filthy rich.
Like Magic Johnson.
And there's a cure. There's always a price.
You just sleep with money around you.
Yeah.
The cure is $100,000. Yeah, but no, it's true. It's like cancer. The only way to cure cancer is by killing yourself. Yeah. I mean, you can prevent cancer as much as you can, but there's so many things that cause cancer.
Yeah, it could always be hereditary though too, and just gonna strike no matter what.
And it'll just fuck you. You have no choice. You have no say in the matter.
Yeah. And
the only thing you have a say in is the treatment, and it's one of those things where, I'm going to take care of myself like really, really, really good, or I'm going to put some kind of chemical in my body that's going to just totally destroy me. And on top of that, there's no guarantee that it's going to work.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just another way for big pharmaceutical companies to kill people as much as possible if they don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.